Hey, Hare Krishna. Jai. We'll give some people some time. They're coming late, but we'll start in just a minute. And greetings from New Jersey, my Bhajan Kutir. I'm kind of happy I'll be here probably for the next little more than 2 months. I'll be here. I may go up to, uh, yeah, I'll be here for 2 months. Um, Maybe go sometime a little bit and concentrate on writing. I think I can finish one book that I wanted to. I have the team set up. Okay. We'll go back a little bit and then, go quickly and cover more. But I'm going to start with verse 167 of chapter 3 of book 2. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nāmnāṁ tu nāmnāṁ tu saṅkīrtanam, ārti-bhārān, meghaṁ vinā prāvṛṣi cātakānām, rathāu viyogāt sva-pate rathāṅgī, vargasya cākrośana-vat pratīhi. Like the distress crying of the cātaka birds on a cloudless day of the rainy season, or the lamenting of a flock of cakravākī birds when parted from their husbands at night, the saṅkīrtana of the Lord's names arises when one is burdened by too much pain. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishnam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Shindu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So again, greetings from New Jersey. Before I begin, somehow I'm looking here at the list of participants. Uh, we don't have that many, but they're the stalwarts. And, I was thinking of my vyasa-puja coming up in September and kind of wondering, we started at a particular time and, somehow it's such lavish worship and I really have to make it worth it by speaking something significant on that day. So I thought maybe I would just collect the most powerful realizations that I get from over the year from teaching it. And one of the most powerful realizations is, um, if you want to um, enter um, into the depth of Krishna consciousness, which is to think of Krishna and never forget him. This process, because I'm teaching on another day um, the Dvija-patni 10th canto story, Wives of the Brahmins Delivered. And it's the constant hearing, the constant hearing. Um, because what you hear is what's in your mind. So I really appreciate the devotees that are taking this relationship with Prabhupada and those who follow Prabhupada by hearing. This is the process. It's chanting and hearing. It's so important. Chanting and reading and hearing, because that's what you'll think about. And what you think about is the destination you will go to. So I thought maybe in my vyasa-puja really a little bit more hell, brimstone, and fire this year. We got to get serious. And this is the way. By Shrindvata Sva-pate Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hidyanta Bhadrani Vidinoti Sritsa. So thank you. And of course, I am myself dependent on the audience. So it's great. Thank you for being here. Um, um, so this particular section is, Gop Kumar had some doubts. Could he be successful? And the Bhagavatam, there's one verse, Vidya Hidaya Grantis, when all doubts are clear, Vidya, the knot in the heart is cut from that false ego. It's cut from that false ego. And all doubts are removed. And it mentioned um, that doubt, am I qualified? And then, is it real? Until you have saksha darshan, you experience a little bit. There's more doubts that if someone gave up Krishna consciousness, there'd be so many doubts. It is real. So I'm just saying. But there's be slight. So Gop Kumar has this natural doubt. Can I achieve this? And the Vaikuntha-vasis, who are very compassionate, want to encourage him. Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me, it was personal in a way, referring to my situation. He said, yeah, without enthusiasm, there's no devotional service. So the teacher also has to encourage. There's an encouragement in devotional service, and the encouragement in devotional service is Krishna's mercy. The encouragement is Krishna's mercy. And they encourage him. They don't only encourage him, but they give him the path of encouragement. If you if you really want to go quickly, go to Vrindavan and do Nam Sankirtan. And then, like good teachers, they clear all the doubts that he may have. Maybe not Nam Sankirtan, but the power of Nam Sankirtan. The power of Nam Sankirtan. Um, and it's such a detailed exposition on Nam Kirtan, and we're in it. And now he's saying something about how to chant, to call out one's beloved Lord in agony. My Monday morning greetings, not this week, but a topic I want to discuss is this. I'm going to call it the agony is the ecstasy in Krishna consciousness, and try to resolve something that the acharyas tell you is very, very difficult to understand because we don't have a frame of reference in this world how the agony is the ecstasy. So I gave two. One is watching a drama of tragedy, and if you feel that tragedy, you enjoy the drama. Um, so that dichotomy is there. Of course, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the example of dry ice. It's something that cold, but has the opposite effect. It's cold, but it has the opposite effect. It burns you. And I'm just saying, also, just the satisfaction that comes from accomplishment. When you work hard, but there's a result, there's a great joy. And even there's a great joy in the difficulty that one undergoes. It'd be like a runner, did a marathon, he's winning it, or maybe he's just completing it, and it's the last 100 yards. That agony is the ecstasy. So somehow, even they say you cannot understand these things, just you have to hear. I like to find some way to understand it. But anyway, there has to be a hankering, and a hankering is a want. A hankering is a type of suffering. But in devotional service, that hankering is bhakti itself. And the more you're crying for Krishna, the more you're relishing the holy name. Yeah. And I'm just going to read the English until we get up to the verses that today, so we can go forward. The wonderful, varied sweetness of Sankirtan emerges only by the mercy shown in various wonderful ways by the Lord. The wonderful ocean of varied rasas of pastimes. This sweetness can never be truly achieved by one's own endeavor. So again, this idea that we can't create God by chanting the holy name. We can only attract God by chanting the holy name. And it's going to be discussed that something very miraculous happens as the fruit of Nam Sankirtan. That something that's material with this, which is the senses, becomes empowered to understand something and feel something spiritual, which is Krishna. So this is also nam tattva, begging for the holy name, understanding its utsaha nisya dharya, patience, because it's not an easy attainment. And therefore, in our suffering in the material world, um, that can be an impetus. And it's just like that what is it, the 12-step process, understanding that you're helpless is the impetus. It's the impetus to feel mercy. And if that mercy touches your heart, then you become inspired in Krishna consciousness. And because it's mercy, um, it's very, very powerful. It can go beyond your own effort. I know a friend, my God, has so many different diseases. I think he's the one, Parthasarthi Goswami, who gave me practically those six buildings, practically, not completely, just some token payment for those six buildings. And I'm close with him, and he's so much pain, loud tinnitus ringing in his ears, neuralgia, the nerves in his face, painful, uh, torticollitis, I don't know, something with the stomach. I mean, it's so many afflictions happening at once. But sometimes he explains to me that his bhajan has never been better because um, because it's Krishna. It's not one's own endeavor. So it cannot be, real bhakti cannot be disrupted by obstacles. In fact, those obstacles can impel real bhakti, for it develops by the mercy of the Lord, not by one's own endeavor. So he's explaining this Nam Tattva for Gop Kumar, and Gop Kumar is explaining for the Mathura Brahmin, and they're all, and that's Sanatana Goswami explaining the whole thing and relating this for us as the worshippers of the Lord desire by the as the worshippers of the Lord desire by the chanting of the holy names, they see their sinful reactions dwindling to nothing, even the reactions they're about to suffer. And when other people somehow chant his name, they need only suffer only that part of their karma already manifest. So I think we're up to here. So I'll read it in this because vacha vachaka sambandha. The meaning is revealed just by the sound vibration. Ichavasat, ichavasat papam upasakanam shiyeta bhogon mukam apyamusmat parabdamatram bhavati taresham karma vishishtam tad aveshabhogyam. As the worshippers of the Lord desire by the chanting of his holy names, they see their sinful actions dwindle to nothing, even the reactions they're about to suffer. And when other people somehow chant his name, they suffer only that part of their karma already manifest. So this is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, uh, that the symptom of executing pure devotional service, what to speak of chanting his holy names, is shubhada, auspiciousness, and klesh agni. It burns the kleshas, or the causes of our suffering, which is our karma. Um, but The purport says something interesting. I'm going to read the purports now because they're very short. This explains why devotees engaged in the all-powerful process of Nam Sankirtan may sometimes feel unhappy. In the beginning of their practice, they may carry some of the remnants of their past sinful karma. So they're not yet at the platform of Nambas or Shuddhanam. And even if they are, the body is karma. So even to purify themselves and execute devotional service, they still need the body. And it explains that even if someone achieves bhava and is qualified to leave this world, they stay in the world because they still need to practice to achieve prema. So the body continues. And therefore, we should not be surprised where we suffer. Different things are coming physically and mentally, they still come. Because the real transcendence of karma, more than anything else, because what surrendering to Krishna means is you come under his jurisdiction. And then Krishna, his desire is to purify you. His desire is to purify you. So will use, he'll use what looks like the law of karma because karma comes to us for us. So we can still do astrological charts. We can still do what's happening. Um, but the real freedom from karma is your knowledge and your understanding and how you respond to things. You may be coming under a Saturn period where you may feel oppressed, but the Vaishnava will see that Krishna is giving me an opportunity, an opportunity to advance in spiritual life. So, so in that way, he changes his destiny, which is the happiness and distress. There may be pain, but not suffering. If we differentiate pain from the karmic thing, and the suffering is how we can digest things. Like Maharaj Parikshit, you may say it looks like horrible karma. Imagine you're told in 7 days you'll be bit by a snake bird. Wow, that's scary stuff. You'll be bit by a snake bird. But um, what did he say? He said, Sadhu mene. I think this is good because I'll free myself of the reactions and I'll become detached and the debt, my debt, karmic debt won't be, carried to my family, these things. See, so I remember when Hugo Chavez died, atheist in Venezuela, I remember his last reactions or something, or it was like so much pain and fear. What's the whole process of devotional service is what? If you want to become fearless at the time of death, Harinam Anukkirtanam, do these spiritual activities so you start to identify with yourself as a spiritual entity. And the more you identify with yourself as a spiritual entity, is the more you become fearless because who you are and what you're attached to does not end with the body, where the false ego, that identity and the things you're attached to, ends with the body. So, so this is the power of the holy name. It frees you from actually the reactions because it's described. I remember you in what way it describes, oh my God, this person to become purified, he did this and he needs his head cut off. But what's the purpose of karma? It's to purify one, but he has these realizations. He already has so many realizations. So he doesn't need that, but maybe he needs a token of it. And I feel that in the trials and tribulations, when you have some spiritual perspective, when you see it's God, it's not people that are oppressing me. It's coming from God. I'm not oppressed. I'm in the shelter of God. I'm not oppressed. And therefore, these people don't have power. It's God. And he can take it away in a second, or he can give it in a second. But my shelter is him. So, next verse, 170. Mahasaya ye harinama sevaka sugopya tad bhakti mahanidhi swayam prakasa bitya vyavahara bhangibi swadosha dukan anudarshayanti. The great souls who spontaneously serve the names of Lord Hari fear to reveal the vast treasure of his confidential devotional service, so they behave in the peculiar ways to show their own faults and unhappiness. This point, Gail, I really haven't fully, I've been trying to understand it. I can only do my best, but it gives this point that when great devotees even do bad things and fall into miserable conditions, like Bharat Maharaj, advanced devotees, Bharat Maharaj, Baba, it says we should understand they're deeply absorbed in the moods of loving devotional service, and they only seem to exhibit attachment. They're only pretending to be materially affected. In order to keep the confidential moods of devotional service hidden from public view, such devotees would rather be treated with undeserved contempt than honor and worship. It's just saying, those that serve the name. It's so attractive that they want to protect that. They want to protect that from, it's not, different people have different service. They want to protect it from honor and adulation, from distinction and worship. They want to protect that. It's a whole different value system, a whole different type of faith that's very challenging to attain, that the service of God and what's favorable for the service of God is God's mercy, even when materially it's so antithetical and causes me so much trouble. And that's one way to kind of, because it's a very challenging subject, to understand the existence of evil in the world because it's coming from God. But God's perspective is what brings us closer to Krishna. That's why God may let our karma go, even though it's very difficult. And who can understand all the examples God is setting through devotees and the troubles that they undergo, revealing perhaps the pitfalls of worship and adulation. Tat nama saṅkīrtana matrato tam nama saṅkīrtana matrato akila bhakta haresyur hatadhuka dushana kechit tatapi prabhuvat kripakula lokan sadarcharam imam prashasati. All the devotees of the Lord are freed from contamination and misery simply by the saṅkīrtan of his names. Yet some devotees, as disturbed by compassion as the Lord himself, act in these ways to teach people civilized behavior. I'm going to read it. I haven't fully realized this yet. Purport. Shouldn't advanced devotees, in order to deliver the world from ignorance, let everyone see their greatness? But the so-called anomalous behavior of Vaishnavas like Bharat Maharaj is in fact their way of teaching sad-achar, civilized human being behavior. By the example of their own lives, they show the consequences of violating the laws of God and material nature. For if people fail to learn how to act according to civilized standards, their hearts will remain contaminated by sinful desires, and they will never become inclined towards the Lord's devotional service. It's a very hard one because it can be used as such an excuse. I've done this horrible thing and I've fell down and I made so many mistakes, etc., just out of compassion. Of course, the example is there, and God will use the devotees to set the example. Arjuna's ignorance are verses in the Bhagavad Gita that we learn for our own enlightenment. And the purport Prabhupada said only a devotee like Arjuna can take this role. So there is some element there that the devotee takes that role to teach us. He takes that role to teach us. It's going to continue at this point. So bear with me. Tu Sanga dosham bharatardayo yata durdyuta dosham cha yudhistiradaya brahmasvabitam cha nigadayo mata pradarshayam swa-pate janam. As Bart and others showed the fault of bad association, Yudhisthira and others the fault of gambling, and Nriga and others the fear caused by taking a Brahmin's property, pure souls generally use their own behavior to teach the people. Purport, Bharat Maharaj showed by his own life the danger of wrong association. Although almost perfectly devoted and renounced, he was distracted into caring for a newborn deer and therefore had to suffer birth as a deer. A similar case is that of Sobari Rishi, who was deviated from meditation by seeing two fish engaged in sex. In the opinion of the Vaikuntha Dutas, however, in reality, these elevated souls were faultless. Well, I mean, it is a very powerful example that Bart showed, and it can only be an example from a person on that exalted level. So how would we understand in the Shastra the dangers of the um, the pitfalls of attachment, even at the highest level, if someone at that level hadn't set the example. So I guess we can quantify it that Bharat Maharaj's fall down was worth it in the sense that he first of all he nehabika manashosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapya siddharmasya. He never there was no loss or diminution ever in his devotional service. So I guess we can see it in that way. I still have to wrap my mind around this. But I know even in the Krishna consciousness movement, sometimes very senior Vaishnavas, things happen that are very difficult to understand. And somehow, when I went to talk to Burijan Prabhu, who was an ocean of wisdom, he seemed to understand it somehow. He studies the Bhagavatam. He seemed to understand it in terms of the body and karma, and it's a different thing. And it sometimes becomes overwhelming, etc. But devotee has to go through that experience to come to the next stage of devotional service. And sometimes that's it. Our difficulties and our mistakes and the suffering we get from them were such an important component in giving us the realization of elevating ourselves to a higher level. Bhakti prabhavenu vichara jatai sanjayamanena sadesh trishaistvam vignati vigyam kita jeshaye vigati vigyam kita jeshyasiha savattate hanta vayam sahaya. By the power of bhakti, you will have many realizations time and again, and for certain you will conquer your most formidable obstacles. In all circumstances, be assured we are your helpers. Purport: since devotees may have to endure formidable tests while practicing Nam Sankirtan, Gop Kumar may doubt his own fitness to take up the process. The visitors from Vaikuntha assure him, therefore, that he should not be doubtful and hesitant, but should begin Nam Sankirtan with all confidence. If he is worried that he cannot expect to succeed without the blessings of pure devotees, he should rest assured the Vaikuntha Dutas will always be there to help him wherever he goes. If he needs to understand anything philosophically or has any difficulties to overcome, they will give him the support. They will give him the support he needs. Yeah, this is the Vaikuntha Dutas saying that Gop Kumar, it says here, he may doubt, but they're telling him by the power of bhakti, you will conquer your obstacles and be assured that if you're practicing bhakti and you're under the guidance of Vaishnavas, then you cannot falter. Because even if you falter, the shelter is there to help you come to the next stage by the power of bhakti. And you'll have, by the prabhavena, vichara jata, born vichara, sanjayaman, arising many things that you'll see. You know, I'm amazed now. Traveling makes a man old. It's not so good for bhajan. It's not so good for health. So I've been traveling since I left India, and kind of now I'm here, and by the mercy of Tota Gopinath, everything is in place here. So I hope to increase my bhajan, and I have that experience Even in writing. So my main writing process, chant the holy name. So many realizations come. And let me just share with you, there's a speaker that I started to, and I saw one or two of his speeches, his videos. His name is Arthur Brooks, and he works in the business school of Harvard, but he teaches happiness. Um, oh, there was some point I wanted to make about him. Oh yeah. So one lecture was like a 7-minute thing. The benefit of boredom. The benefit of boredom. And I thought about it, what he meant. We're so conditioned. It's so ridiculous. No one can be alone with their mind anymore. They have to constantly be distracted, as if the faith that this gives us happiness. But he said, no, boredom is great. And I think what he meant boredom is you have nothing to do. And I see that. I see that. I went into the ophthalmologist, and by God's grace, I mean, there was this, they thought there may have been a hole in my retina, but I checked it 2 years ago. I checked it again, and all they found was cataracts, and that was removed. And my eyesight is now 20/20 in each eye. And the ophthalmologist said, no, there's no movement in that. It's a pseudo hole. He explained to me what a pseudo hole means. Um, but the way they do this in these offices is great. You go in, make sure your appointment is filled. I'm going to make a point here. The story. So then I went in, and immediately they took my vision, and then immediately in another room they took, a picture of my eyes, and then they said, sit and wait in the waiting room. So that was like a 20-minute, thing in the waiting room. Um, and then after waiting so long, then they said, okay, you can go to the doctor's office. You sit on the chair and you wait there again. And I was so happy doing nothing, not distracting myself with any gadget, any magazine, doing nothing. And he explained that's where the mind really can dwell and think, and create and contemplate and really try to look at your life and see what you're doing. So he really inspired me. Don't become bored. The power of boredom, because I'm saying the power of bhakti, have many realizations time and again. And that's our problem with chanting. We don't like to be bored. We don't have taste yet. But with chanting and chanting and chanting, so many thoughts. I'm amazed. If I chant properly, the article is written in my mind. So he's saying this power of bhakti, don't worry, do it. There'll be obstacles, but we are here for you. And anybody who wants, they can find shelter of Vaishnavas. Purport, since devotees may have to endure formidable tests while practicing Nam Sankirtan, Gop Kumar may doubt his own fitness to take up the process. The visitors from Vaikuntha assure him, therefore, that he should not be doubtful and hesitant, but should begin Nam Sankirtan with all confidence. If he is worried that he cannot expect to succeed without the blessings of pure devotees, he should rest assured that the Vaikuntha Dutas will always be there to help him wherever he goes. If he needs to understand anything philosophically or has any difficulty to overcome, they will give him the support he needs. One more verse. Sri Krishna Chandrasya Mahanukampa Smabi Stiratva.
When the snake bit him on the foot. No, I'm joking. What's the use if you're not alive? Right?
So, somebody's got their.
What is your elevator pitch for Krishna consciousness?
I don't know what an
So
elevator.
it's like in like.
Wait, someone's got. Okay, good. Okay. Sri Krishna Chandasya Mahanukampa Smabi Stiratva Vyavadaritasi Linana Sakshad Bhagavata Diksha Twatastapo Loka Nivasi Vakya. The greatest mercy of Sri Krishna Chandra we have found is firmly established in you, because even the arguments of the residents of Tapaloka could not dissolve your eagerness to see in person the Supreme Lord. Remember, the Tapaloka, they were telling him, stay here, it's the mind, it's so good. Stay here, it's the mind. They were telling him. And he had that faith, trust by experience. He had that faith. I will continue. No, even the ecstasies of this place and that place could not deter him. You're a very qualified person because you have that faith. So we'll end here a little bit early. Jamuna Jaya, maybe you got something from this class you can share?
Hare Krishna Raj, thank you so much for class. I got a lot out of this class, actually. So many good points. I love the point about how mercy actually can give you the greatest confidence, because you're saying, when it's mercy, it's not me. It's simply not me. So it's Krishna. So that gives me so much more confidence. It's not me.
Yeah.
And then, yeah,
If it's us, how can we have confidence?
yeah, that's like, I can't have confidence in this. Like, that was so wonderful. And I love that you said, when you put yourself under Krishna's jurisdiction. There's such nice phrase. When you put yourself under Krishna's jurisdiction, he'll make the arrangements, and use the karma to help you bring you back. And that just made so much sense, and to put yourself under Krishna's
Yeah,
jurisdiction.
what comes to us is for us.
For us.
So we just have to understand how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do look back. If we're practicing sincerely, we do look back, and we see that those tests gave us a jewel of realization
Mm.
that was worth the price that we paid for it. It's a tough one, but you got to take the fruit to realize the value of what you're paying.
Yeah.
If you just go through the experience, you don't learn for it, then it seems cruel. But if you learn from it, okay, good.
Thank you,
Okay.
Maharaj.
Gail, let's go. You get your question.
Yeah, well, maybe you answered it just now, but still I need to ask. I mean, Krishna, he wants us to trust him. He wants to inspire that trust in us, yet he will give us experiences that are like intolerable, like literally intolerable. They say, Krishna, God never gives you anything that he never gives you a test that you can't pass, but that's not really true. So if he wants us to trust him, why does he have us go through these intolerable experiences?
Bhishmadev tells Yudhisthira, you can't understand the inconceivable will of the Lord. We don't know the level of our entanglement since time immemorial. We don't know the components of realization that we need to actually achieve eternal bliss and satisfaction. So we're not in a position to judge it and what the effect is psychologically. Sometimes it's this 12-step program. We just need to be brought down till we're helpless and to before we take shelter, before we become humble, before we accept. It's like a child. You had your daughters, they're growing up, right? You have to struggle with them sometimes. They know it better, you know. You wish they would listen to you. Like every parent goes through that. So we're the children of Krishna, and he wishes we'd listen to us. But we need something more sometimes, and that's karma. It puts us in circumstances. But you can't realize the value until you extract the fruit.
Yeah, yeah. But Maharaj, you know, that you were saying that you can't wrap your head around this Bharat Maharaj thing. But what is it that Yoga Maya wouldn't be the answer to? You know, he's under Yoga Maya, no? Wouldn't that be the
You
answer?
mean why it was so difficult? Because he fell down in ignorance.
But that was Yoga Maya, no?
What?
When it comes to Yoga Bharat Maharaj, this is Yoga Maya only.
I guess it must have been.
So anyway, that it seems like if that's the case, then
Well,
there's
and then
no
I'm
problem.
relieved. If Gail understands it, I'm relieved. Thank you, Gail. What a blessing you are. Okay.
But why isn't that the answer then? Because I'm trying to penetrate your sarcasm. It's obviously not the
Anyway,
answer.
sometimes you're the one that has to give the answer, and I have to listen. Thank you for clearing my doubts.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody just like to flip it on so I can see people here?
I have a question, Mark.
Okay, Yudhisthira, Haribo.
This has to do with paradoxes. That's the only link to what you were speaking about.
Yeah.
And it has to do with revealing one's mind. On the one hand, we don't want to get too absorbed in degrees of our advancement and which emotion is, which is more transcendental, which is just a more mundane emotion. Because, and the purpose of understanding it, one could say, for those who overthink, like myself, is to, reinforce what we should do, what is favorable for our spiritual lives, and minimize what's not favorable. So, it's a paradox, but we don't, I don't want to talk about myself, particularly with someone, about my own inner experiences.
Yeah.
Can you share what you do, maybe?
I'm trying to first understand
It's about revealing one's mind, about one's, when I was in Govardhan, there was one kirtan in your room, Yoga Maya led it. I shared with you this causeless mercy that I experienced during the kirtan with Krishna and Balaram. Okay, that happens. It's just causeless. It happens to all of us. But our feelings like that, it's almost embarrassing to speak about because it almost feeds the subtlety of I am special.
Well, revealing the mind doesn't mean it has to be publicly. It can be to a trusted person,
Well,
So,
that's what I'm speaking about, even with a trusted person.
well, it's saying, well, let's say it's a real powerful experience. It's a real heavy devotional experience. It puts you in a good light, etc. So I guess everything is shared with the appropriate person. The person who will understand it in context of your whole other struggles and see, okay, it doesn't promote the person. It's just my God. I'm suffering so much, and finally I got a drop of mercy. After all this time, I got a drop of mercy. So everything can be put in perspective. And I don't think it's necessarily a paradox.
Yeah.
I just think that um, it's just like you have to take a position of leadership sometimes. Is that a paradox? Because you're using your karma as a leader. You were a leader for many, many years, you know, in Krishna consciousness. So you take a position of leadership, but it's also humbling. You have to do it as a service. And you're going to do it anyway. So you might as well do it to Krishna. And you have emotions, and you might as well express it to friends, you know? And you know, and if it looks good, and I think actually the thing is we can't get too mental. We can't analyze everything. You know, we just have to, okay, if we have a service, we have to do it. So what would people think?
Right.
If we have
Right.
emotions, we have to express them. You know, is it material or spiritual? It's offered to Krishna. He'll purify it. Okay, thanks, Yudhisthira. Haribo. Okay, and I spoke to Champak. I'm going to give her all the numbers, and then she'll get back to you in a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
systematic way.
And I'm in contact with Yoga Maya and Sabyasachi about it too. So we'll get it organized. It'll just take some time.
Yeah, she'll just have all the information. Okay, anybody else like to say hello? That's nice to see people. Thank you, Timothy. Nice to see you there. It was nice to see you this weekend.
Yeah, good morning, Maharaj. It's very nice to see you.
Okay, great.
Looking forward to seeing you at your retreat.
Oh, great, great. I'm so happy you and your wife can come. She's an amazing cook. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a beautiful day. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Lal, Haribo.
Hello, Maharaj.
Hey, Krishna Raj.
Okay, Denny, nice to see you.
I'm gonna get back to work. It was good class. Thank you.
Okay, good. I like that you have this philosophical nature. It's good. Good, thank you. Okay, Lal, Haribo.
Hey, Krishna Raj. Thank you for class.
Okay, nice to see you.
Thank you. It's good seeing you.
Amala, nice to see you.
Hare Krishna, Gurudvar. Nice to
Okay,
see you.
great. Jumuna Pavani, Haribo. Are you there in Lithuania? I can't hear you. Audio doesn't work.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare
Okay,
Krishna Maharaj.
nice to see you. Ananta
Nice
there
to
yet?
see you. No, not yet.
Okay, great. Maybe we should touch base sometime.
That would be great.
Are you free in another hour?
Yes, I am.
I'll call you in another hour or so.
Wonderful. Great.
Okay? We should touch base.
Yeah.
Okay. Yogamaya Shakti, Haribo, nice to see you. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm looking at all the list of all the people that attended the classes, and so absolutely grateful for everyone coming. Okay. Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha